All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about a massive political firestorm brewing in India. And this isn't your typical political clash. We're looking at something pretty unprecedented, where the opposition isn't just going after the government, they're trying to fire the actual person who runs the country's elections, the umpire of the whole game.
So, get this. The headline is a real shocker. You have the India bloc, which is a huge opposition alliance. And they're not just complaining, they are seriously talking about a motion to remove the nation's chief election commissioner. I mean, think about that. It's kind of like a team trying to get the referee fired right in the middle of the championship game.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? Is this all just political theater, a way to make a loud protest? Or can the parliament of the world's largest democracy actually fire the head of its own election authority? Well, we're going to break it all down for you.
So, to really get how we even got to this point, you got to look at the one event that basically lit the fuse. It was a press conference, and it was supposed to clear the air. But, well, it did the exact opposite. It pretty much started an all-out war of words. And right away, the CEC's choice of words, it was pretty striking. See, he didn't just defend what the Election Commission was doing. Nope. He went on the attack, straight up accusing the opposition of spreading misinformation. Now, for a job that is supposed to be totally neutral, that's let's just say, a very combative thing to do. Well, the reaction was immediate and it was fierce. These words from K.C. Venugopal of the Congress Party, they just cut right to the core of why the opposition was so angry. To them, it felt like the neutral umpire had just taken off his stripes and put on the jersey of the ruling party.
And look, it wasn't just a lone voice yelling in the wind. This quote from Manoj Jha of the RJD, it shows this was a feeling shared right across the opposition bloc. The consensus was pretty clear. The CEC had crossed a major line, going from an impartial administrator to, in their eyes, a political spokesperson.
Okay, so what was this misinformation that started the whole thing? The press conference, that was the explosion, right? But the fuel, the thing that made the explosion possible, was a major dispute over something super fundamental, the voter lists for the election in Bihar.
Right at the heart of all this is a kind of technical process. It's called a Special Intensive Revision, or SIR. Basically, it's just a standard way they update the voter lists to make sure everything's accurate before an election. Totally normal stuff. Except, in this case, the results were, well, anything but normal.
Okay, get ready for this number. 65 lakh. That's 6.5 million people. That's how many voters were just gone, excluded from the draft voter list in Bihar. I mean, that is an absolutely staggering figure. You can imagine it set off all kinds of alarm bells for the opposition. They were worried their supporters were being systematically wiped off the lists.
And at this point, it stopped being just a political squabble. The Supreme Court of India stepped in, and they ordered the Election Commission to publish the details of every single one of those 6.5 million excluded voters. That's when this thing blew up from a political debate into a full-blown national controversy. So, okay, we've got angry accusations, a massive number of voters off the list, and now the Supreme Court is involved. All of that brings us right back to our big question. How do you actually remove a chief election commissioner in India? Is it even a thing? Well, the answer is right there in the Constitution. And let me tell you, it sets an incredibly high bar. A CEC isn't some political appointee you can just fire whenever you feel like it. No way. They have the exact same level of job protection as a Supreme Court judge. And that's on purpose, right? It's a safeguard designed to make sure they can be totally independent from political pressure. So what does that actually look like in practice? Let's walk through it. Step 1. You need a motion signed by at least 50 members of the House. Okay. Step 2. That motion has to actually be accepted for a debate. But here's the real kicker, the final boss level. It has to pass with a 2/3 majority. And not just in one house, in both houses of parliament. So yeah, it is absolutely designed to be difficult.
And this really boils the entire conflict down, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the role as it's written in the Constitution, a totally neutral umpire, responsible for free and fair elections. But on the other hand, you have this very serious accusation that the umpire is actually acting like a political spokesperson for the ruling party. It's a fundamental clash, really, over the integrity of the whole game.
So you might be thinking, okay, why does a political fight in New Delhi matter to me? Well, because what's really at stake here isn't just one person's job. It's about something much, much bigger. It's about the trust that holds an entire democracy together. Let's just break down the stakes here, because they are huge.
First, this whole thing calls into question the neutrality of a vital democratic institution. It's a stress test, really, for those constitutional safeguards we just talked about, the ones designed to protect the Election Commission's independence. It also just lays bare how deeply polarized the political scene is. And one more thing, it shines a big spotlight on a 2023 law that gives the CEC immunity for official decisions. That adds a whole other layer of complexity, making any challenge like this one even tougher.
So this whole thing, it really goes beyond the day-to-day politics, doesn't it? It forces us to ask a much more fundamental question. In this incredibly complex game of democracy, when the umpire themselves is being questioned, who's left to referee the game?